Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths. And welcome to the first subscriber craft review. So, in the comments recently, I was asked whether I would use subscriber-made vessels in my Nita campaign. The answer is... maybe, I guess? I'd prefer to use my own craft, but honestly, like, if subscribers... not send me designs, I guess inform me of their designs and have a look at them. I guess I could, after tweaking them a bit. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is Mark William Raid, known on Steam as Boom Boom Shake the Room, said that I could basically have a poke at this ship of his, the HMNZ Taniwha. Already, straight out the gates, he gets several thousand points for giving it a proper New Zealand type name. I'm from New Zealand, if that's not clear already. Taniwha, Maori, basically a dragon from New Zealand Maori mythology. Very nice. It is a very good looking ship, and just, I guess, if this is going to be a review proper, sum it up right at the start is, this is... from what I understand, Mark made this as a kind of aesthetic build and also an experimental build, because cram cannons aren't usually his thing. And in that, it is a complete success. Like, I mean, geez, like, triple-barreled turrets are actually really hard to do, so kudos to him for actually managing that. Like, also imagining small ones, for crying out loud. But, in short, the guns need work. They're not as good as they could be. But getting into proper details, the pros of this thing. The fact it uses crams at all is a plus in my book, because crams are possibly the least overpowered and one of the most underappreciated weapons in this game. Or that's the feeling I get from the comments. Like, there's more than a few people saying like, oh yeah, I usually do advanced cannons. I'll get my phone to shut up just quickly. Quiet. There you go. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that crams aren't usually their thing, they prefer advanced cannons, and get the odd person saying, oh, you do crams, lovely. So crams are a bit of a black sheep of the From the Depths weapon family at the moment, so kudos Mark, using crams, trying crams, lovely, lovely. And this is a very nice looking ship. It's got stuff on the front, it has a nice prow, it has shapely hull. Nothing incredibly fancy on the hull, but that's fine. I love this fantail at the back. I have no idea what this is meant to represent, like, in terms of real ships, but I think it looks fantastic, this little fantail right there. I think it looks really cool. Very shapely stern, very shapely hull. The gun mounts look really good. I love this little thing here, real World War II battleship feel. In fact, the whole thing kind of has a World War II battleship feel, except for the missiles and the lamps on top. More on that later. Lots of guns, and the lamp system is actually very, very good. Like, I've tested this ship against two of my designs. Cram uses the Skilla and the Naga. In fact, will this cause the game to lag out? Because I tried recording this before, and combination of this being a very big ship, almost 20,000 blocks, and the fact that I think my computer was overheating, damn it, Assassin's Creed Origins, that recording failed. So this is actually take 2, in case you're wondering. I'll just give you a side-by-side with the Naga, give you a... Naga. So this is currently the biggest ship I have, and truth be told, like, the Naga is longer than the Taniwha, but it's also got... actually, no, similar displacement depth, really. But considerably less blocks, which is impressive, really, because Naga's 11,000, Taniwha is like 19,000, but the Taniwha has actually got a lot of space on the inside. It's got lots of spaced armor. And I guess I'm skipping ahead of my crib notes slightly, but that's one of the things I like about this, is that this space actually means it takes a really long time to kill with explosives, which is primarily what the Naga here is armed with. So, in a fight between these two, like, spoiler alert, the Naga did win, but it took a really long time because the Taniwha is actually pretty cleverly armored. Like, not thickly armored, this is just one layer of metal here at the waterline, the deck is just one layer of wood, but just it's got really good spacing, and that's really good. Like a penetration depth shell would make short work of this for sure, but yeah, but it's like against explosive spamming, it works extremely well. And the lambs also works extremely well. In fact, I will get the Naga out of play and I will show you. Pull you out of play and have you go way over there. Why are you so slow, damn it? Oh well, you're invisible now, it's okay. So we will spawn in something with a load of missiles. We will spawn in the Asphodel. I was testing against this the other day. Ridiculous missile spam. So show you there. So you can probably hear that the lambs is kind of ridiculous, and at close range those crams are nasty as hell. Wonder, did the torpedoes actually get through? Yeah, they did. But that's the spiffy thing about spaced armors, that torpedoes actually do surprisingly little. They strip off the outer layer, but then they got another one to get through. And the lambs just eats away at those missiles. But here you see a problem. As soon as things get out of range a bit, it doesn't work so well. Okay, I destroyed that. You get the idea. So, spiffing good lamb system. You see, most of those missiles just got destroyed. And the hull actually looks okay. There's a bit of a hull breach there, but I don't think there was even an air pump in here, so it's not a problem. There is like a laser transceiver, which is more of a problem, but it's like so far away from the edge. Not even an issue, guys. Not even an issue, mate. Wondering what that is, though. Yeah, okay, that's drive shafts. That is cosmetic lumps of metal. And see, this thing is tough. This thing is really defensive, which I quite like. I like defensive builds. I like things that are well armored or evasive. Not so much things with lambs, though. I am hopelessly biased in terms of lambs, but that's just me, I guess. And yeah, I have mentioned the torpedo buffer on the bottom here, and this thing uses a PID. I'm not sure what kind of PID. Hang on, let's double check what kind of PID is in here. I think I remember where it is. There it is. It is a... what is it set to? It's set to pitch. Alright. So there's a big ship, and those PIDs are set to pitch. So yeah, Viva Aotearoa, the Taniwha. Anyway, now we get on to the things that probably could be done better. One of them, just in front of our faces right here, is that these propellers, only 12.5% of the force is available because, like, they're blocked off here. So you see right here, 12.5%. Get rid of this block right here. Now it's 100%. So just... that probably defeats the purpose of having, like, spaced armor on the bottom, but you could get a lot more force out of these things, and you'd need a lot less of them if you just gave them holes to poke through, and it just needs to be this bit right here. This single block in front of the center of the propeller. So yeah, that's one issue. And speaking of propellers, you'll notice that this ship is huge, and you'll also notice that these propellers are here. There's only 3 of them, only 3 propulsion propellers, and we will compare that with our friend the Naga here. You'll notice that the Naga is actually quite a bit smaller and lighter than this, but look how many propellers it's got. It's got 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. It's got 20 propellers on it. And I'm not... incidentally, I'm not comparing these two ships to just basically brag about my designs. Look at the difference between these two. I think the Taniwha looks a lot better. And remember, experimental Cram build, non-experimental Cram build. I built this thing when I actually halfway knew what I was doing, so... So anyway, so this thing is slow so, and I believe I'm in the driver's seat. Yes, I am. Oh yeah, it has a camera on it, which is... God, that didn't work so well. Not that. Control terminal. View on cameras. Wireless camera. You can see out the thing. That's a feature I never really experimented with, and I just think is really nice. I never do that with my things. Probably I should. So anyway, this thing is going full tilt right now, and it is going 8 meters per second. Which, this probably depends entirely on your taste and how fast you like your ships to be. I like them fast. If it's nowhere near 20 meters per second, then it just drives me mad with how slow it is. So this, by my standards, is really slow, and it would drive me absolutely nuts if I made something this slow in the campaign. Prefer not to. And... Where are we at? So... we get back to the guns in a minute. The missiles on this thing are weird. So it has what looks to be... Oh wow, this isn't even a turret. What is this? Oh, it is a turret. Oh my god. It's one of the new turrets. Okay, I take it back. That's really cool. This is the same kind of turret I was showing off in my Guns on Guns video. Oh, I love it. I love it. However, these missiles are set up kind of weird, because you'll notice when you look at the fins, they say drag 7 and 5. So base is 0.5. Hang on. What? Do these things now have less drag because they're in the... No, that can't be right. That can't be right. Huh, okay. That's weird. I learned from various people, and by which I mean Lathrix, that fins have the least drag when they're on the back of the thing. I think that's still true, because you look at these ones. What? 0.25? That's weird. Maybe it's just the numbers being displayed funny, but what I've been led to believe is that fins have the least drag right on the back of a missile. So you put them there, drag 0.02, base 0.05. Huh. Correct me if my math is bad, but 0.002 is less than 0.05, I think. I don't freaking know, but anyway, the missiles are an interesting choice because the fins are right on the front. That's basically it. Also, the explosive warheads are spaced weirdly on this one. You kind of want to stick them all together, I think, and as near the front as possible, so the explosion is localized and near the target, especially since these are pretty big missiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Yeah, 10 meters long, so you want the explosions all localized at the point of impact. So yeah, and now we get to the guns. And the guns are, as I said before, very good looking. They are not optimal Cram ones, especially these ones on the side, which have a very limited arc of fire, and you don't want that for Crams, because Crams are expensive. Like, you go into the Cram menu, and just everything costs a lot. Like, the barrels are expensive, the ammunition, well, the pellets is expensive, the laser target's expensive, the firing piece, it's all the stuff. 6-way connectors being 15 materials each, for crying out loud. So you want to stick your Cram cannon so it has as wide a field of fire as possible, because, and this is kind of my own design philosophy talking, like, I prefer ships that can fire, like, they can focus almost all of their firepower on one point, and with ships like this, even though it is... Like, this is true to life, and there's a reason why ships in real life were built this way. These are... Like, like, the superstructure was actually needed for stuff. It was needed for communication and all that stuff. And anti-aircraft guns and smaller caliber weaponry would go on the sides, where it could fit. And... What was I saying? Oh yeah, but in this particular case, and in this game, if something is... Say, well... Here, so we're on the starboard side of it. Yeah, I remember which side is starboard. So only the guns you can see, excepting the ones in the hull, can fire on a target like this, whereas here, like, the guns on this side cannot. And if we just yank and save... I did save those. Yeah, I did. I was mucking around with turrets earlier. So this little gun is about 4,500 materials. And this is admittedly the triple-barreled one. That is, if you do the math with all these, that's a lot of material cost that is essentially worthless when your enemy's on the wrong side of the ship. So that's ideal. So you want to make secondary guns as cheap as possible, and so crams aren't very good for that. With main guns, though, they can be really good, or at least entertaining. But let's while we've got that turret, let's dissect a little bit. I haven't actually looked at these things in detail, but I know for a fact that triple-barreled guns are very difficult. So we see here, what kind of arrangement does he have? He has, I see, that is, okay, that one has 2, that one has 1. Yeah, so these ones are not optimal. These are not optimal, and there's empty space in there. Less ideal. To be fair, I have yet to make a decent triple-barrel gun myself. Like, this, it's not easy to do because you might have noticed this game is based around cubes. It's based around multiples of 2, like 2s and 4s and 8s and stuff like that. So making a triple-barreled gun is really hard, but this is, I guess, it's adequate one. Again, mainly for aesthetics, I believe. Like, it's much easier to make a double-barrel gun than it is a triple-barrel gun. I'm repeating myself right now. I'm repeating myself right now. I'm repeating myself right now. I should stop. But in anywho, so I guess the arrangement of, like, the secondary ones isn't as good as it could be, but honestly that's fine, because it's hard to build small, especially with cram cannons, so let's take a look at one of the bigger ones instead. How expensive are these? These are, oh, they're about 8,000. That's actually not bad for a big cram cannon. Which leads me to the point that these things aren't actually very big. So this is, I guess, one of the main guns, and you'll see that what's below deck is actually quite small. Which is fair enough, because these aren't very big guns. By cram standards. Not that one. 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 Not that. Ah! From the depths, I swear. So you'll see here that each one of these guns is 1,200 millimeters, which by cram standards is small. Yeah, that is small. I remember I mucked around with like smaller to medium gauge cram shells for a long time. They're honestly not as good as larger caliber ones, because not only are smaller shells less damaging, they're also less accurate. So you'll see that this one in the middle has about 45 degrees in accuracy, which is, it's not great. It's not terrible either, but it's not great. Incidentally, these tiny ones on the side, about 500 millimeters, that's 1.33 in accuracy, and that's really awful. It has real trouble hitting anything from a big distance away. Which is what, when I tested this against my ships, anything more than 700 meters away is almost immune to this thing's guns, because these guns don't have enough elevation. They've got too many elevation barrels and too many regular barrels. No motor-driven barrels at all. And when you're making crams, motor-driven barrels are your best friend, even though, like, they are really, really ugly. And I just noticed this gun is poking straight into the back of this one. Not ideal, but aesthetics. So you can see here, back to this main gun here, I believe, I'm not sure if this is pen depth. Let's have a squiz. Ah, there's empty, yeah, this is not a good thing. Empty space in the gun is not ideal. In fact, Mark, in case you're interested, there's a trick I learned just from dissecting Onyx Watchcraft. These curved gorge greases, the corners, you can do this, because you'll see here where the pegs are. If the back of them is facing something, it doesn't attach, and because, see here, it's been increased, and It's fine. It's not touching that one. It's not compromised. So you can just fill this space in and make the gun a lot bigger. Oh, and lots of like single blocks. That's not good. Not good. You want to fix that. That's possibly why it was lagging before. Like this whole thing right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fix it. Replace that with one beam. 1, 2, 3, 4. Replace that with one beam. Or even replace it with gauges. So you do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So already this thing is a lot bigger, and you'll notice the accuracy is increased, and the muzzle velocity. Let's go back here, let's see. Muzzle velocity is 153 meters per second. We've upped the gauge by a fair bit, so now it's 172 meters per second, and that extra 20 odd meters per second makes a big difference. It really, really does. 143, 163, 163, so this gun, a lot bigger, so this thing is already just more accurate and just fires further. The reload time is awful, and that's where you kind of have to redesign the whole gun, because this is geared for a smaller gun, I guess. And I believe the reload speed is actually really terrible for these. So the best possible reload is about 5.4 for this gauge, but the reload time is 15 seconds. Not good. The one thing that small crams do better than large ones is fire quickly. So having it this slow is just not good. It's not powerful enough. It will get outperformed. Like 6000, you could make an advanced cannon that does that damage and fires much more quickly and accurately. So yeah, just essentially the guns need to be bigger. So you see, maximum damage, this thing is fully crammed, it does a bit over 6000. This one is already at like almost 12,000, and it's not even fully crammed. So almost double. But you can't really just make the thing bigger. That wouldn't really work so well. Though, you do have space underneath it, so Mark, if you want to have another go at the ship, and I recommend it because, like, it's a shame... It's not a shame, what am I saying? If you just want to make this thing a little bit more formidable, you can just sink the guns down further to, like, almost the very bottom of the ship. Because you have the room for it, and cost is clearly not an option, because... Let's just delete this turret right here. Boop. So this thing is already like 265,000 resources. This thing's already pricey. So I'd say forget the cost for a second and just make the guns big. And let us plant that again, and let's talk about the barrels of the thing, because the muzzle velocity and the accuracy of these guns is not very good, and that's partially due to how the barrels are. So, pardon me, I'm just going to, not that one from the depths, thank you. So, whoop. So we're gonna do this, and you'll see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elevation barrels. That is way too many. Because there's diminishing returns with these things. You honestly only need 1. And prove my point right here. And I realize, if I had to guess, I'd say like motor-driven barrels don't feature in this thing at all. I don't think any of the guns have motor-driven barrels. I don't think they feature because, let's face it, they're ugly. They are not pretty. What the hell? Okay. I built that wrong. 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. Okay, so the elevation barrels have to be near the actual barrel itself, apparently. Yeah, so you do that, and then you need to match the amount of motor-driven barrels to the amount of regular barrels. Boom. Or the amount of... Whoop. So now that gun can point almost straight up. It really screws with the accuracy, though. But here's the thing. Now that you're doing that, you see how fast those guns rise. That's the main trick with motor-driven barrels. You want those guns to rise very quickly. So, what else can we do here? Actually, can we get rid of some of these things? Boop. 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 Boop, boop. Boop. Okay, so that's clearly... See, I like mucking around with these things. What gets it to 45 degrees? 15, 22, 45! There you go. So the gun's less accurate now, but let's see, can we do this? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh. Well, that was just a random bit of experimentation. If you don't like long noodle barrels, and frankly, I don't blame you, I would suggest a motor driven barrel, at least one, just to up the speed with which these things rise, because they are glacially slow. It also affects their range, because if you go here, and this thing's probably going to shoot itself. Yeah, 36 degrees, it means that, it's like what I said, anything more than a kilometer away, this thing has real trouble even hitting, let alone damaging. So, that's a long rant about, I guess, sum up again, very pretty ship. Weapons are weird. I would tweak the missiles and I would heavily tweak the guns. Maybe I was considering doing a retrofit just to show off like how I would change this. But, you know what? That would be, I don't know, slightly rude. This isn't my design. Like, I don't know the guts of it properly. But, like, I'm half tempted to, like, retrofit this thing and then use it in the campaign. Eventually, if nothing else, just to nick the LAM system, which I have no idea, still, how to do proper LAMs. So, Mark, if you don't mind, I'll just have to nick that wholesale. No hard feelings. But anyway, bottom line is, I like this ship a lot. I think it's very pretty. I like kind of how ambitious it is, just to be armed with almost nothing but crams and missiles, even though, well, I've made ships like that. But this has style. Like, it's got style. It's like, what's the comparison? Like, it's like when you watch From the Depths tournaments, there's always that one ship, which is like, it's really cool, and you really want it to win. And maybe it doesn't necessarily win, but you're rooting for it anyway. This is what that ship reminds me of. It's just, it's stylish, and even when it loses with grace. Like, I mentioned before, this thing is ungodly tough, at the very least. So, bottom line is, like, yeah, the Taniwha. I would totally play with this thing. And just to send it off, I'm gonna, like, spawn in the Naga on the enemy team, and you can see the two fight. Whoop. Like, the Naga will still probably win. Although the, yeah, the Taniwha is already not doing well. And if you see here... Ow! Skilla! Stop being so rude to the guest. Ah! So you see there, those guns are straight up missing at what I consider to be a very short range. And once the lambs are gone, that's just it. So, no hard feelings, Mark, about blowing up your ship, but it looks gorgeous even when it's being blown up. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Please like... So, when you post, like, want me to look at a craft of yours, either so I learn something, or so you can learn something, like, either or, we're all learning together, guys. If you want me to do that, please give the name of your craft and, like, a description of it in the comments. Don't post a link, please, because the YouTube spam filter does not like that. It really, really does not like that. And it's a pain in the ass for me to go approve your comment. Also, I don't want people to just get the idea that you can post whatever link you like, because that is a dark road, people. Let's not go there. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell!